public figures today, yesterday, and the day before predicting and all but calling for mass violence and rioting in the streets.
Obviously, Republicans, I think, are the biggest threat to democracy. We don't separate right-wing extremists and Republican Party anymore. Republicans, I think, are the biggest threat to democracy, We don't separate right-wing extremists and Republican Party anymore. Republicans are the biggest threat to democracy.
This means war. That is...
Cut out the jibber jabber. Don't be babbling like a fool. Say what you got to say. That's all. Then shut your dang pie hole.
Hell yeah. What a bunch of clowns. I really tell you, I wish they would shut their fucking pie holes. They're such hypocrites and liars, and I am here right now to demonstrate that to you. Welcome back to the Prepared Mind channel. If shit has hit the fan, well, you're going to wish you knew more and that you had spent more time here, but you are here. You guys are supporting the channel. We had just an awesome zoo last night, Sunday Night Live, and by golly, we're off to the races. So Republicans are the biggest threat. Republicans this. We don't separate Republicans from other extremists, blah, blah, blah. How about this? How about the leader of the Democrat Party in Richmond posted a bomb threat, folks. Who is the threat to freedom? Who is the threat to liberty? Who is the threat to free speech? Who is the threat to every freedom and liberty we have? It's Democrats and their socialist rhino buddies. You bet. So, not to mention, folks, who's threatening the gays? Well, Andy Ngo was going to speak at well, you know, one of those colleges or one of those talk forums. I'll never spend money to go listen to someone talk, right? Well, I might, I guess, if they really had something good to say. If they were helping other people, maybe I would go. Maybe I would. But to post a bomb threat because Andy Ngo is speaking, isn't that terrorism? To post a bomb threat coming from the Democrat Party? How about, isn't that a hate crime? Because Andy is a homosexual. He's part of the protected class. And yes, he is trying to expose Antifa and BLM, but he's still a homosexual, isn't he? Isn't he still protected? Well, folks, who is the real risk and who is the real threat? Just a friendly, prepared mind reminder about what the hell is going on around here. These people are liars and hypocrites. Galore. Oh, you aren't getting rid of that story. This is a good one. Oh, by the way, I need you to get your questions down here, and down here for Mr. Uman, because I'm going to take the first 30 minutes and then I'm going to hand the show over to you. You guys here on the preparedmind.club who are live and subscribestar.com who are live. Folks, Hillary Clinton is shooting off her soup cooler. Does she think she's going to run for president in 2024? Now, a very big risk taker in the Prepared Mind audience predicted last night that Governor of Michigan, Gretchen the Grinch Whitmer, that's right, the woman who said, oh, if you want to protest against her commandment to wear your mask and stay locked down, then she's going to give you more lockdown and more mask requirements. Well, he said she's going to be the president. Well, don't tell that to Hillary. She's out there attacking Trump right now. And what is she doing? She's going back to the same old playbook as dear old departed to the nether regions of the universe, Rush Limbaugh would have said, right? It's the same Democrat playbook. Hillary is pushing her Russia collusion hoax again. Here we are, folks, 7 years later, and she's pushing it again. Not only that, but in her last few appearances, Hillary has decided that she is going to call the Republicans, well, they're projecting. Yeah, that's right. They're projecting their what they're doing onto the Democrats. So the Republicans are what? They're trying to stop free speech, and so they're projecting that accusation on the Democrats. The Republicans are trying to destroy the Second Amendment, so they're pushing that onto the Democrats. Right? The Republicans are trying to keep the southern border open, and so they're projecting that onto the Democrats. Now, I have to say, a lot of Republicans are in favor of continuing to put money in Ukraine and expanding that war. But so are the Democrats. Same old playbook. Accuse your adversary of what it is you are doing. Hillary Clinton to the T. I tell you this, the stupid is strong in the Democrat Party, folks. The stupid and the evil, the tone deaf and the racist. Get this. Representative Clyburn, he's a Democrat representative in Congress. Representative Clyburn, who is also a black man, says Kamala Harris's unpopularity comes from you and me. Her unpopularity is also Democrat based. It's not like she's got 50% of the country. Nobody wants her, folks. So Representative Clyburn says her unpopularity is because of racism and misogyny, which means it's because we hate her because she's black or brown, I guess, and because she's a woman. Now, according to the experts, she really isn't black. She just has a good tan. And she is the descendant of slave owners. That's right. Kamala Harris is a descendant of slave owners. So who is a racist? Well, she's a descendant of racists, so therefore she shares in their guilt. Does she not? Representative Clyburn, by the way, is an asshole who talks out of his ass. She's unpopular because she kept black men locked in prison as slave workers for the state of California. That's right. She put more black men in jail and then kept them there for nonviolent crimes than anyone else. And we're supposed to believe that we're the racists for not liking her and that she's not a racist for her action and the actions of her ancestors. And we don't dislike her or are unpopular towards her because she's a woman. It is because she is half retarded. And the unretarded half never makes an appearance, and all we get is full retard out of her. Oh, good golly, folks. They make this easy to demonstrate who they are, what they think, what they believe, and where this country is going, not to mention the whole world. Get your questions down below. I'm going to get to your questions, your thoughts. And if you're here live, if you paid that whopping $2 premium to become a member, then guess what? You get to ask questions for free. That's right. Every day, Monday through Friday on the afternoon chit chat. Right? At the afternoon chit chat here at the Inner Circle. So let's continue, folks, with socialist policy, hypocritical left-wing scumbags. Guess what? France, led by Emmanuel Macron, who married his mother. France has now decided they're going to leave Niger. You bet, folks. The security agreement is over. Niger has kicked the French out. And now the French military is going to start departing. Yep, they're backing out. Macron has folded. He's given up. Or, folks, will they turn off the news cameras, send everyone home, and then France will begin slaughtering everyone they can? Missile strikes, attacking schools, children, women. And the mainstream media will just be like, oh, yawn, we don't know nothing about it. Hear no evil, see no evil. Are they going to pretend that another colonial attack from Europe is not happening? Well, that's what happened in Libya, if you recall. They had Muammar Gaddafi, and they didn't like that Muammar wanted to keep his oil to himself, unless, of course, you wanted to pay for it in gold dinars, right? Pay for oil in gold. So what happened? Almost to the, like, it almost seems like the very next month, Muammar Gaddafi was being chased by militants who were being paid to chase him. And then they killed him publicly with sodomistic force. It was not a dignified death for Colonel Gaddafi. But Europe got its gold and kept it, and then they got Libya's oil, and they kept that too. And if anyone didn't see that as a colonial attack, then they wouldn't have seen the Ukraine coup d'etat any differently. The taking of Ukraine in 2013, 2014, that was a colonialization of Ukraine. Folks, it's still happening. They're still bringing nations under subjugation. Think about it. Every bank in the world has to have a central bank digital currency by 2025, says the Bank for International Settlements. That is the bank above and taller than every other central bank, including the Federal Reserve, private bank, including the European Central Bank, the ECB, private banking cartel. Every banking cartel bends the knee to the Bank for International Settlements in Switzerland, except, of course, Russia, China, Brazil, India, South Africa, Saudi Arabia, United Arab Emirates. Are those names starting to sound familiar? I think those are names that belong to the BRICS Union, right? The anti-Western hegemony. They're like, no more bullying us. It's quite interesting, folks. The West is faltering. The East is in big trouble as well, folks. I think out of all the countries on the planet, especially those with nuclear superpower, Russia's probably the most stable financially. And how have they done that? They have kept the West banks out. They have kept the West social belief systems out. In other words, they don't like transgenders in Russia. They're not a protected class, and they certainly don't dictate what the government and the people are going to believe there. If Russia wasn't so cold, it'd be like saying, well, if you want to be free, John, go live in Antarctica. If that was possible, I would go, a little cold for me. Anyways, they do. They want to colonize the world. They want to also, folks, not only rewrite what you think, they want to rewrite what you think about Kamala Harris. They want to rewrite what happened 100 years ago and thousands of years ago. Get this. This was incredible. There is a history book that is now out claiming that Stonehenge was built by Black people. Now, this is an insult to the intelligence of not only white people, but also Black people and Asian people and penguins from Antarctica. This critical race theory, Wakanda mentality, is off the charts stupid. So I don't know of anywhere in sub-Saharan Africa where there are ancient monolithic monuments that are similar in size, shape, or scope to anything resembling or even close to being big like Stonehenge. So what these people are trying to do is convince people that Blacks from Africa migrated to England thousands of years before Christ, that they built Stonehenge, then they returned back to sub-Saharan Africa. This is 100% lying, horseshit, revisionist, Democrat, feel-good, BLM, CRI, socialist crap. And this gives children a sense of value based on lies. It gives children a sense of value based on lies. Now, the American Indians, do they run around and make up lies about who they were? Do they say, hey, we were a warrior people, low technology, but lived close to nature? They're good with it. why not embrace what you are? The Aboriginal Australians, same story. They don't pretend like they launched missiles at the moon and they landed and walked on the moon. They don't make that kind of shit up. The Japanese don't claim that they built the Egyptian pyramids. No, they don't. Right? So children should not build a sense of value based on lies. I mean, toddlers love Santa Claus. That's fine. They're toddlers. But humans, they shouldn't be lied to like this. They shouldn't. Right? Well, I guess, in today's modern world, men can have babies. Having a penis means you're a woman whenever you feel like claiming to be a woman. So why not create a completely false history for people? It's just ridiculous. What do they stand to gain from that? It's a lie. You start living the lie, look out. And speaking of lies, we covered this yesterday. Brilliant. Fucking brilliant. The people in charge are telling us exactly who they are. What am I talking about? The fact that Justin Little Castro Trudeau got smoked since we and everyone else in the alternative media started pointing out that they were honoring, giving a standing ovation to a Nazi murderer in the Canadian Parliament. Right? The globalist poster boy, douchebag, Zelensky and Trudeau, both those poster boys for just being a bunch of losers. Thank you to them for posting, showing everyone, exposing themselves that Ukraine has embraced Nazi belief systems and practices in the past, just as they do today. Now, Trudeau doesn't want to be responsible for that. He is blaming the Speaker of the House in Canada for that one. And, so you and I, the patriots of Canada, the United States of America, the patriots around the world caught this, and we spread the word fast. This is what social media does for us. This is how we use it so much more effectively than left-wing idiots, right? We read about, learn about, and spread the word that Voldemort and Justin Castro Turdhole, they honored a murderous Nazi from World War II. Now, I prefer to spread things that are factually true or accurate as can be. Now, a lot of times I'll share with you guys a conspiracy theory out of fun, but I typically point out, and sometimes it's just tongue-in-cheek humor, conspiracy theories. But in this case, it's not a conspiracy theory. This guy claims to be who he is, and who he is a member of the Ukraine Nazi movement in World War II that fell upon and slaughtered Russian women, men, and children, and not to mention Jews. But instead of being honest and saying they made a mistake, or owning up to their fascist socialist belief systems and their true status, right? Justin Turdhole has decided to blame someone else. Why don't they own it? Why don't they own who and what they are? Why can't they be honest with us when it just seems to make perfect sense who they are? Who they are. Now, there's people that are complete douchebags. And I just named two of them, Voldemort Zelensky and Justin Little Castro Turdhole. I kind of like that name for him. Seems to fit. People like them, and then, of course, people like Joe Biden are completely trashing their nations. Why is it that bureaucrats and law enforcement or other, shall we say, government agents from these multiple ABC agencies, why are they continuing to follow Biden and the Democrats and the socialists for a paycheck? Let me just give you a taste of how they're going to end up as serving servants of an evil regime. Down in the border, folks, down in the Texas border, a border patrol agent was, attacked by an illegal terrorist immigrant and left as a bloody mess. And now former Congressman Maya Flores has pointed this out. She even got a picture of this guy, bloodied and fucked up and beat up. He's not dead. He's lucky to be alive. But former Republican representative to Congress, Maya Flores, back in September, she reported to the world, she complained to Congress, she let everyone know that the Mexican drug cartels at the southern border, they own the border and they're coming across it. Flores told this media outlet called Town Hall, she said, quote, the Mexican cartel is in full control of the southern border. This is a situation that we deal with on a daily basis, meaning the people who live near the border. They deal with it on a daily basis. She said this, quote, it's the best time for terrorists to come into the country because we don't have border security. We have a federal government that refuses to enforce the law. So what has happened here, folks? A Border Patrol agent, and right now they're notorious for opening the gates and letting people in. They're notorious for putting ladders up to help people climb over the wall. They're now notorious for threatening to and removing and even arresting people who are filming what they're doing. These same idiots that think they're working for the Biden administration don't realize they are still the enemy of the invading terrorists. And if you think drug cartels are not terrorists, well, you got another thing coming. You see, terrorist organizations all need to fund themselves, whether they're Middle East terrorists or Far East terrorists or South American, Central American, or Mexican terrorists. To say, oh, that's a drug cartel, John. Well, yeah, that's what they do. They sell drugs to fund their terrorism. They also sell children and women as slaves. That's how they fund themselves. And then they commit all other acts of shall we say, racketeering and fraud, bribery, extortion, whatever level of corruption is needed to get their way, they do it. Just like they do in all the Middle East countries and all the African countries. They're terrorists, folks. You know, maybe we're going to need to see more federal agents assaulted and then left in a bloody pile before that bureaucracy rebels against the socialist Biden warehouse. So whether it's Immigrations and Customs Enforcement or Border Patrol, they all have guns, but they're going to be targets of the cartel. And they're also targets from us on this side. Not to shoot them, of course. And I would never recommend that you go out and start shooting federal agents, but they deserve our criticism, our First Amendment criticisms of what they're doing. They're exposing the rest of us to the same shit down there by letting it through the border. And we're seeing it. Folks, it's hit the fan when they're letting millions of illegal immigrants here, and they are robbing people, robbing stores. They are abusing the American system of kindness, our social system. They're taking our social services in hospitals. They're doing everything they can to rob us blind, in addition to, well, assault, murder, and rape. And not just rape of women, rape of children. They are terrorists, and they're coming across the border, whether they're Mexican or Central American or Russian or Chinese or African or Middle Eastern. They're all coming across the southern border. Face it, folks. Shit has hit the fan, and it's not going to get better. It's just going to get worse. And who cares if they start murdering border troops, border guards, Customs Enforcement, Department of Homeland Security, Drug Enforcement? Why should we care? They don't seem to care for our rights or our country. They're just letting people in. They're following orders that are contrary to their oaths to protect and defend the Constitution and the people of the United States. By taking that oath to protect the Constitution, the duty to uphold it would be to read it and go, yeah, we're supposed to protect the border from people who should not be here, non-citizens. Unbelievable, folks. The war is going to be on every level. It's going to be international. It's going to be on our own border. It's also going to be with our media. Trump came out and he let them have it today. Now, this is good and this is bad. Trump says that MSNBC and NBC, any NBC, what's the other one? I suck NBC. Anyways, they're going to be investigated, according to Trump, if he is reelected for treason. The former president, Mr. Trump, has now vowed that when he wins, they, meaning the NBC affiliates and other he calls them lamestream media, are going to be thoroughly scrutinized for being dishonest and corrupt in their coverage and their news stories, etc. And this is a quote from the president. Quote, I say up front, openly and proudly, that when I win the presidency of the United States, they and others of the lamestream media will be thoroughly scrutinized for their knowingly dishonest and corrupt coverage of people, things, and events. And his quote continues, why should NBC or any other of the corrupt and dishonest media companies be entitled to use the very valuable airwaves of the USA free? That's a great question. Why do they get to use our airwaves, public airwaves, free? Why do they get to do that and then lie to us on them? Well, there we go. If you want a war with the media, Trump just ensured, folks, that the media is going to attack him 100% because they are now being told their ass is going to be grass. So why shouldn't they lie even more? Right? And anyone who supports Trump is likewise going to be attacked as punishment and as a deterrent. So nobody supports Trump and they don't vote for him, so he can't win and then go after them. While I approve this message coming from Trump, I'm going to tell you it is not free. It may be free speech, but there's a price for everything. We pay for everything. There are no consequence-free wins. In order to win a battle, you've got to destroy the enemy. And the enemy in this case is the media. And they are not going to go down willingly. They're not going to hear Trump and go, you know, he's got a good chance of winning. We've got this whole fraud, this election fraud thing on our side, but you know, we still may not win. Republicans may come out and guard the ballot drop-off. They may stop the cheating, and Trump may win. And if he wins, it's our ass. So maybe we ought to start covering things more fairly. Well, don't forget, the other day, some jackass liberal fool came out and announced on national TV that, well, the media is too soft on Trump, and they're not left-wing. They're just way too conservative over it, and they need to step up their anti-Trump and anti-Republican fervor. That's what they believe, folks. They really believe that. That's what they really think. Right or wrong, that's what they think. They think right or wrong, that's what they will act on. They are a bunch of very, very bad actors, folks. And I'll give you one example of that. Oh, no, you don't. Get back here. This is a good one. Maria Bartiromo. I think she is the last decent journalist or potentially decent journalist on Fox Faux News. She got into a debate, an interview with Matt Gaetz. It was contentious. And Maria actually said this: you made excellent points. My thinking is evolving. Wow, folks, a media person needs help to understand logic, common sense. It's incredible to me that she engaged in this and said, you made excellent points. My thinking is evolving. Shouldn't grown human beings already understand logic and reason, common sense, critical thinking? Shouldn't that be part of who we are? Well, I would say yes, except I looked out at the vast unwashed herds of left-wing sheep. And they have completely abandoned intelligence in exchange for sound bites and a promise that at some point the government's going to forgive their debts. They're willing to sell themselves and sell you and your children and your grandchildren down the road. And Maria Bartiromo, she finally decided to say, my thinking is evolving. Now, is it really evolving, or did Maria Bartiromo just kind of cover her back at work? Did she just introduce that kind of idea? My thinking is evolving, as if the Fox News audience needs to go, well, if she's evolving, maybe I should evolve too and start using my brain. Is that her approach, or was she just making excuses for the fact that she couldn't argue down Matt Gaetz, who's a Republican, who was going after shitball Kevin Do-Nothing McCarthy? They need to just throw him out. Throw him out of the speakership. He hasn't done anything that any other Republican wouldn't have done already. He hasn't done more than any other rhino out there. He's done less. He hasn't done more than any other Republican from the Freedom Caucus. He hasn't done more than any of them. What's the point of keeping him if he's going to continue to drag his feet and make excuses and whine and snivel and kiss up, literally kiss up to all of his left-wing buddies, which I believe this list includes his roommate. Is it Lutz? Lutz rhymes with putz. I tell you, folks, I'll tell you what, we got more coming. It is now your turn at the inner circle. Your turn for questions. Bum, bum. There it is. Mr. Uman, you are in charge with the blue wrench, and you got Mikey G, who says they even had pictures of him in World War II German uniform. He's talking about Mr. Huckabuck, the Ukrainian Nazi from World War II, who's 98 years old. Other members of the Ukrainian Nazis have been captured, locked up, and punished for what they did. Not this guy. He escaped to America. He escaped to Canada. Unbelievable. Allowed to live out his life. Now, at this point, at 98 years old, what do you do with the guy? He could die any day now, this huckster. Anyways, yeah, he put up pictures of himself wearing the German stormtrooper helmet, right? This group of soldiers he's with. He poses in uniform. Quite a handsome, dashing young fellow in his Nazi uniform. And everyone in the Democrat Party missed it. Everyone in Congress in Canada missed it. They didn't seem to notice the Iron Cross, the German helmets, right? The SS, just incredible. They don't think a thing of it. They don't see that. That's how blind they are to the truth, Democrats. Just like they refuse to see in Ukraine that the Azov battalion flies the SS stormtrooper symbol in their flag, as well as, folks, the Nazi flag, the Nazi swastika. They just love it. And everyone in the Democrat side just looks the other way, and the Rhino Republicans the same way. They're like, we don't see that, la, la, la. We don't see the Nazis. Crazy stuff. Thank you, Mikey G, very much. Yeah, we're all learning. We're all aware. And I want the rest of the world to learn as well and wake up. Wake up to what is going on. Who are the fascists? Who are the murderers? Who are the socialists? Who is destroying American culture, Canadian culture, Australian culture, and European culture by inviting in the dregs of humanity to live amongst us for no fucking reason other than they want to destroy our countries? There's no benefit to bringing trash in. You don't make I don't know, what do you want for dinner? You don't make a steak taste better by pouring shit on it. You don't make soup better by putting shit in it. You don't make a casserole more yummy by baking in turds. You don't improve the IQ by bringing in people with IQs under 80. You don't make a country stronger by bringing in a culture that does not recognize law, order, and decency, but instead is used to living like a bunch of thieving animals. But that's what they're doing. Welcome to 2023 and our world, the clown world. All right, Mr. Ooman, who wants to step up next? It is Jane Dixon. And she says, I heard Big Marge, meaning Marge Taylor Greene from Georgia. She says, I heard Big Marge say 20,000 Border Patrol are going to Ukraine. Say what? Face blue, wide eyes. I tell you what, they want to send Border Patrol to Ukraine. Now, they've given a couple of bullshit reasons for this: to protect the Ukraine border from Ukrainians leaving, to protect the Ukraine border from people entering Ukraine, to help Americans evacuate 20,000 Border Patrol. If they've been there, and Ooman said this, if they've been there the last year and a half and decided that they weren't going to, it's on them at this point. It's fucking on them. But we'll send Border Patrol to protect another country's border, whether it's to keep people in or out, doesn't matter. We need our 20,000 Border Patrol agents on our southern border protecting it. And yeah, they should probably protect each other too from the terrorists who, when they see a Border Patrol agent, will harm them. This guy is lucky he's not fucking dead, perforated with high-speed lead. And remember, folks, American weapons, not just little silly guns like the M16, full auto-capable, not just small arms, but large arms and armament and missiles and grenades are ending up in the Mexican cartels, because instead of making it to the front lines in Ukraine, a lot of this material is being intercepted. They turn it around and they go sell it on the black market. Imagine getting a truckload or a carload of weapons and knowing that all you have to do is drive it a few miles, find the buyer, get the money for it, and now you're living on Easy Street. You're now a big-time arms dealer. And you can feed your family. And you can afford to pay the new 6 times higher electricity costs in Europe because of what the leadership is doing there. They have all the incentive in the world not to do the right thing, while our media tells us, well, it's our responsibility to do the right thing and give all the money that we can to Europe. So what we're doing by transferring American weapons and material is we're transferring, or rather the Washington, D.C. government is transferring your wealth, my wealth, our taxes, just handing it over to arms dealers. And who do they give it to? They're not selling it to me and you. No one showed up on my door with a rocket launcher or a anti-missile system. No, nobody showed up here with anything. It's being taken and sold to drug dealers who have money from selling drugs, and then they can use the guns to protect themselves as they sell more drugs and smuggle more women and children as sex toys for uber elites around the world who have little islands like Little St. James. Every island is not a bad island, folks. Just the ones where these elite bastards have their little compounds. Yeah, face blue, wide eyes. Breathe, Jane, breathe. Get your color back in you. Okay, thank you very much. Name redacted says, well, they are only cruise directors here. What the hell are we talking about? Taken out of context. I don't know which one we're talking about. Mr.
The border patrol agents.
Yeah, gotcha. Okay. Border patrol agents, they're basically cruise directors. There you go. They're like the people, I guess, that stand. I've never been on a cruise in my life. Maybe someday I'll take a cruise. Maybe someday, someone will sponsor a John Cruise. There's a great idea. There's a fine idea. Yeah, you go up on the ship. I saw a Love Boat though. You get met at the thing. You go up the gangplank, and you get on the ship, and there's people there, and they're like, "Hey, your rooms are this way, and the food is this way, and the drink is up on that deck, and yada yada yada." It's all fun once you buy your tickets and you get on the cruise ship. Then everything is free, and the cruise directors will tell you everywhere to go to get your money's worth. Well, these illegal immigrants have only paid enough money, whatever it took to get to the border, to get on a train, to get on a truck, to get on a bus, whatever it took to get to the American border, and then they get in and it's a cruise. The Border Patrol agents, they're armed cruise directors who are now also punching bags for terrorists. And go ahead, keep that job. How do you like your paycheck now? I would love to see the expression on their face when you ask them that. Hey, how does it feel to have a job where you're trying to help people get here illegally, you're disobeying your oath, and the same people you think you're trying to help out and be cute with are going to shoot you in your fucking back the moment you turn it to them? If 1 in 1,000 is a real terrorist that's armed, and you let 10,000 through, you've just let 10 dangerous terrorists through the border. Good fucking job. What I say is, you guys that are helping make this happen, you deserve everything you get, because women, children, men, Americans, cities, counties, and states are getting fucked over by you for following the orders of Joe Biden. Can it be put any more plainly? Can it be explained any more succinctly? These bastards in Border Patrol get what they deserve because they're the facilitators. They're no better than Nazi stormtroopers or Gestapo who broke into people's homes and allowed crimes to take place. Well, I was in the Gestapo, they were going to try to say, but I wasn't putting people on the trains. And I was in the Gestapo, but I wasn't putting people in the showers. I wasn't killing people. I was just collecting a paycheck, man. So that's what they'll say. That's their excuse. I was just getting a paycheck. Well, unless your name is Schindler and you're a Border Patrol agent, I don't think so. I don't fucking think so. I'm going to get pissed off over this stuff. I tell you. Did you know that in a podcast interview, an embalmer had something to say? You know what an embalmer does? They work at a mortuary, a morgue, and they take a body and they remove all of the blood out of the body, and then they fill them with a preserving fluid. They embalm them. They're an embalmer. Basically, they can make mummies out of you. Well, this embalmer has come out in an interview and said half the bodies that he's embalmed have white fibrous clots. I wonder, how long has he been keeping track of this? Oh, wait. Since April, May of 2021. And since April, May of 2021, he's been keeping track. And half the bodies have huge clots, white, snotty, fibrous clots that he just pulls out of people. I wonder if the sheep vitamins are doing what they're supposed to do. If half the bodies have that. Half the dead bodies, folks, have that. Now, I'm willing to bet that if they didn't have those white fibrous clots, they probably wouldn't have died. There would be a much lower percentage of that. But half the bodies have white fibrous clots. If anyone knows, it would be a mortician, an embalmer, because I'm sure they noted before, right, the 2020, 2021 time frame when shit really hit the fan, I'm sure they would have noted that before and said, this is normal. People have huge, snotty, white, fibrous, cotton fiber, stringy ass crap clots pulling out of their veins. Unbelievable. And people line up and get this. Now, sheep vitamins are costing big money. Now they're charging Democrats money to go out and get snotty clotted. Wow. Good golly, Gertie, nasty shit. But that's the world we live in, folks. I say people that have gotten that stuff, go get some more. Hell, if one is good, get 3 or 4. Hey, you're going to be healthier than you could ever imagine. Go get some more. Go down and get them sheep vitamins, you bunch of idiots. Well, they've tricked a lot of people, folks. People that don't want it, didn't want it. And now they're wondering what's going on in their world. I would do everything I could, folks, to take, the proper vitamins. Of course, I would consult a physician. I would never tell anyone to do anything crazy. No. Go consult a physician. You can trust them. All right. Let's do this. Mr. Uman, who do we want to throw up next? Who's going to put their name on it? Who's going to own what they believe? And it is actually Uman who puts his name on there and owns it. He says, deportations are happening. There's a family of 11 that fled Germany over homeschooling persecution. They're now living in Tennessee. They had their asylum claim overturned and they could be deported. And they've been here for 15 years. This is Immigrations and Custom Enforcement. This is the federal government saying, we don't want you decent, law-abiding, Christian-based white people. We don't want you here. Go back to Germany. 11 people, folks. That's a big family. Maybe they should change their name from Hofsbrau to Lopez. Okay. Your name is no longer George, it's Jorge. Right? Your name is no longer Johann, it's Jose. Wow. It's coming, folks. They want to kick us out of our own country. They want to take history and give it to someone else. They want to take your wealth and distribute it to themselves and those people that'll vote for them. We are in big freaking trouble, folks. Big trouble. If you want more, I've got it. Uman, do we want to step up with some more? You bet, he says, Uman. Charles Gentry checks in with another great comment, question, thought, suggestion. Let's see what it is. He says, I guess I will be the one to say it. What is happening to us is what our government has caused to happen to any country until it cooperates and uses our dollar. Our government is the baddie, the bad guys. The government is the bad guys. All right. What do we got on the continue there? It says, we the people are the ones who pay the price. So yeah, when another country refuses to accept the bullshit that the United States government and Western banking cartels demand, what happens? Well, their country is denied economic shall we say, opportunity. They are economically attacked. Their monetary system is attacked. Terrorism is turned loose upon them until they, begin to behave as the U.S. government wants. And so the U.S. government has now taken that war to you and I. Think of it as acts of war. They are now terrorizing us. They're economically and monetarily punishing us. They're taking our economy and ruining it because we are not behaving and doing as they demand. Yeah, I think you're right, Charles. This is a great point and something I'm now going to be looking at. What does the U.S. government do to other countries? They sanction them and they try crushing them until they behave. Iran. Look at the nation of Iran. Now they're trying to bribe Iran by giving Iran trillions of dollars in cash. Trillions of dollars have gone to Iran. Is it trillions or is it just a couple $100 billion? I'm pretty sure I heard trillion at one point. I could be wrong. That's a lot of money. It's a lot of money. I think a trillion seconds ago is still 31,000 years. Going back into caveman history, if you did a trillion seconds. That's impressive stuff. All right, here we are, folks. Mr. Who-Man, who is next after Mr. Charles Gentry? We got Chin Music, and he says it's Luntz with an N, you big Swedish lunk. No, he never said that to me. I said Lutz, it's Luntz. And he says, with an N, we need to be able to find his ass on a search engine. Him and Kevy share toothbrushes. Oh, isn't that sweet? I wonder if one of them scrubs the toilet with the other's toothbrush. Well, they both use the same one, I'm sure. I'm sure their breath smells the same. Kevin Luntz with an N and Kevin Do Nothing McCarthy. It's now I can't remember Luntz's first name. Doesn't matter. That's his buddy. Yeah, is he a protected class? Folks, DC is full of a bunch of perverted freaks. They're perverted sexually. They're perverted intellectually. They're perverted patriotically. They're not true patriots. It's a scary world. Him and Kevy. Is it Tom Luntz? Can't remember. But he's definitely a Democrat. And we can trust the fact that Kevin shares a toothbrush. Probably a whole lot more with the guy. Bunch of freaks. They just are freaks. Thank you, Chin Music, and thank you for your great support on Sunday Night Live as well. Waking people up, bringing things to mind. Good golly. And I'm sure you have an opinion about the Border Patrol agent who has been assaulted by a terrorist down there. Is what I said too harsh? They get what they deserve? Well, if I stood in Compton, if I was in the ghetto in Compton, walking around with a gun, right, helping what? Helping drug deals happen, helping women and children be sold as slaves. It doesn't matter that I was helping them out. I would still get shot. And if I was helping him out, everyone would say, well, fuck, he deserved that. The stupid bastard was where he shouldn't have been. And he was helping the bad guys. The Border Patrol agents are helping the bad guys. Rock Valley Ready says, heard that 100,000 Russians had a blackout last night. I missed that story. I know nothing about it. Not a bit. Zip, zero, zilch, nada. But what I do know is that Putin has banned 5G across Russia. And they are now, if they haven't finished already, they will destroy all 5G towers. Remember before Cerveza bug? Do you remember before 2020 there was the 5G conspiracy? Remember that? Everyone was worried about 5G, that it was going to cause cancer, that they were going to use it for mind control, that it was going to hurt children's development. Well, in St. Petersburg, Russia, children died. The ones that are in proximity to these 5G towers. So Putin just decided, hey, fuck it, let's remove them. So people in Russia no longer have super high-speed, reliable internet access with 5G. Weren't we told that if you save just one life, it's worth it? It only takes one life, and it's worth it. Well, Russia has lost several children, and who knows how many other adults. And they're blaming it on 5G and stuff. So if it's worth it to save just one life, to have all of America locked down, Isn't it safe to say that some people out there are sick and maybe even dead from 5G radiation? If it just saves one life, it'd be worth getting rid of that shit. Or is our high-speed 5G access to the internet so critical and important that it's worth sacrificing grandma and our children? Right, whatever. Anyways, thank you, Mr. Skylight, for sending me that article on Putin banning 5G in Russia. 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 That's what we get, folks. A bunch of crap out of these people. Now, in Texas, if you recall, they decided they were going to impeach the Attorney General, Ken Paxton. Well, he was impeached by the Assembly, their version, the state version of the House of Representatives, and it went to the Senate. And the Republican Senate voted 58-2. They voted to have the House Speaker, Dade Phelan, or Felon. They told him to step down. So this rhino snake that had Ken Paxton impeached, right? It looks like he's coming down. Well, he should. Well, and in fact, folks, Dade Felon is the one that Ken Paxton accused of being drunk while serving the people of Texas. That's what got him in some hot water. It got the investigation, the bullshit going, where they found nothing and they impeached him anyways. What I would like to know is how the House GOP leadership allowed a vote at all to go into the impeachment category. But now they want Dave Felon, to come down. They want him to leave his post as Speaker of the House. The reason I bring this up, folks, is to point out that they can be beaten, that they are not all powerful, and also that you and I do make a difference, and that supporting the good guys works. It doesn't work as well as we want. It doesn't work as fast as we want, but it works. Justice works. Good people taking action has an effect. It works. And I want more people to do it. I don't know why it shouldn't be tried. Right? If you don't try, let's just say you're sitting in the highway and a truck is barreling towards you, a big semi. If it hits you, you're going to die. You're like, but my ankle's broken. I can't get up and get out of the way. Well, you better try. If you don't do anything, you're guaranteed to be dead. So you may as well try. If we don't do anything, folks, we're guaranteed to be dead. Guaranteed to be dead. Just by what? By what? I don't know if you heard about this. And I'm going to finish up today with this story about people taking action in their country. In South Africa, they're having a problem with the extreme socialist left-wing leadership telling other blacks to go kill white farmers, to take their land and their wealth. Well, a local militia, folks, approached and took care of 15 armed robbers who all had AK-47s, folks. They blew up an armored truck. They were stealing the money. And local people, folks, just regular everyday people, showed up with pistols, not AK-47s, not AR-15s. They didn't show up with an F-35 to subdue them. They showed up with handguns versus AK-47s. And I think that this is an exciting lesson for us to look at. Check the news. Go find it. It's not a brand new story. It was from this weekend. This shows us the difference between a well-regulated militia, like we have here in the United States, well-practiced, people who go target practice, who understand what a militia is about. You can see how much more effective they are than ghetto morons and Antifa idiots. You can see how much more effective we will be in a without the rule of law situation. WROL, without the rule of law. You can see exactly how much more effective we will be. Right? One armed patriot who is trained with their weapon can take on 10 armed idiots who want to hold their water pistol sideways. They want to shoot from the hip. As veterans, as sportsmen, as patriotic Americans, we have the advantage. We need to start exercising that advantage with our First Amendment, and then when it's time, the Second Amendment. Now, I know that today in America, if 15 armed robbers took over an armored truck and armed citizens came out and stopped it, they would probably be arrested if it was a Democrat city. That's how fucked up America is. But let's just say things get really bad, and the police aren't around, kind of like they're becoming much more scarce in Democrat cities. In fact, let me share one last thing with you. You're going to love this shit. These Democrat cities are failing. People are going to have to take the law into their own hands. In Oakland, Gavin Newsom, socialist scumbag Democrat of California, in Oakland, 200 businesses shut down today. I'm sorry, it'll be tomorrow. They're going to go on strike. They're going to lock their doors because there are over 10,000 stolen cars so far in Oakland just this year. Crime is off the hook. Yay, socialism. How many more states will keep these stupid programs coming? Oh, it's intentional. They're punishing us as described until we obey them. That's where we're at, folks. It's not going to get better, so you may as well get prepared. Chance favors the prepared mind. Aren't you glad you are a prepper? Godspeed, Semper Fi. I'll see you 0 dark 30.